let's talk fun and easy activities and summer toys for our toddlers. And if you guys are new here, my name is Rachel from The Confused Mom. Welcome to my channel. I share baby and toddler product reviews, activities, as well as Montessori at home tips. So make sure to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss my next video. As I was putting together my summer toy list, all of them were just such open-ended toys. A lot of them you may already even own that can be used for such a wide variety of activities, and they can be used for such a wide age range. So I'm covering a whopping 15 toys, so you'll definitely be able to come up with some new, easy to set up, quick cleanup activities for keeping the toddlers and kids busy at home. I live in South Florida. Our summers get pretty rainy, so a lot of these toys can also be brought inside and used like whenever. The first up is going to be these little like tubey things. I don't know what else to call them, but these are awesome and I suggest having for year-round fun. It's super fun to just open and close them. That's a very calming experience for toddlers, but you can do literally like anything with them. They actually can snap close the ends, or they can snap together. So for pretend play, you can turn this into a crown, you can turn this into a necklace, a bracelet, different accessories. You can also use some painter's tape and tape them up to a wall and have your kid practice pouring water down them, or maybe you guys have each kid build a different maze using them and then race to see who gets their thingy down. They come with a bunch of different colors, so you could tape them to the wall with different matching colored items that they have to drop down the right one. So like a blue pom-pom into the blue tube, an orange one into the orange tube, and so on to teach color sorting. There's really like endless options with these. I swear we get, I'm not even exaggerating, daily use out of this for like going on 4 months now. In the bath, at the beach, in the backyard, at home, or in their car seats, on walks in the strollers. We bring them with us. These are like a saving grace Hail Mary item for parents. The next thing is going to be bubbles. And like I said, this is obviously a no-brainer. When we think summer, we think bubbles. I'm gonna give you guys a few activities to do with them that you maybe haven't already thought about. For older toddlers or elementary school age kids, you can go ahead and set up a few different cups of bubbles with food coloring in them and a straw. Oh yeah, and you're gonna need some paper too. Essentially, you're going to have them dip the straw into the bubble solution, go to the piece of paper and blow the bubble onto the piece of paper. The idea here for older kids is that you can actually have some yarn on hand too, and this is how I learned circumference in 5th grade, by the way. So my teacher had us blow bubbles onto the piece of paper and it created a color ring. Then we had to take a piece of string, measure our full little bubble, and then take that onto a ruler to figure out what the circumference was. You could also teach radius like this. So if you have older kids in the house, that's how you can do it for them. For younger kids, it's just a really fun way to make bubble art. And then my toddler also just loved blowing bubbles into the bubble solution cup with her straw. Which leads me to the third thing that you can do with them, which is making bubble snakes. Using an empty container, whether it's plastic or cardboard, doesn't really matter, but you need one of those individual drink size container and an old sock. Cut off the bottom of that container, put the sock really fitted to the base, to that opening, and then you can either pour bubble solution in, just make sure you have something underneath to catch the excess bubble solution, or you can take it and dip it into a tray of bubble solution, and then you will just have your toddler blow it. And that is going to create some beautiful foamy snake bubbles, and this is just a ton of fun. If you have babies around, toddlers, young elementary school age kids, you guys can go ahead and grab the bubble foam that it creates, scoop it, put it into a bin for some foam play, and with some different toys, you can take the foam, put it on your face like a little beard, all sorts of things that you guys can go ahead and do with this. Seriously, so much fun. I recommend 2 more bubble products. Number 1 is this little container, which has just smaller openings. So yes, if the toddler flips it over, obviously bubble solution's still gonna pour out, but the spills are much smaller, a lot less wasted bubble solutions. And the other thing I suggest having is actually a bubble machine. Let's be real, blowing bubbles for our toddlers can get exhausting if they want more and more and more, but chasing after bubbles is a great way to expend that toddler energy, and that's where bubble machines come in. And I have a full buying guide on the top bubble machines. Next, I love these little trampolines. They're great for burning off toddler energy, work a wide variety of motor skills, and you can use them indoors or outdoors. The next toy is this spinning top, and I 10/10 recommend it. It can be used indoors or outdoors. It gets fantastic vestibular vestibular input and is really good for helping calm toddlers down. My 1-year-old loves to push it around like a walker. Definitely not the safest thing. I'm not recommending it, but babies do love it. The next thing is going to be cones and rings, which I think I said this in one of my past Love Every play kit reviews, but my toddler loves cones. And you can do so many activities with these. You can do color sorting, you can do counting, you can do a ring toss, you can stack, you can do an obstacle course, and there's probably like 15 other activities I haven't even thought of. Toddlers eventually, as they get closer to 4 years old, will likely come up with their own games using these. So it's just one of those open-ended toys that is well worth the money because it works not only for babies with the stacking and the colors and all that, but it also just works a lot of gross motor and imaginative play as well. So basically our obstacle course, what we typically do is we set up the crawling tunnel, which goes into the spinning top. I talked about the crawling tunnel in my Montessori gift guide for 1 to 2-year-olds. So from the crawling tunnel into the spinning top, going onto the trampoline, and then we have a little ladder. You don't need a ladder, where we have her jump through it, and then into the cones where she has to zigzag the cones, get some rings, and then do a color match ring toss and repeat. We had her do about 3 circuits of this before bed when she struggled to fall asleep, kind of burn off some of that anxiety, and it worked fantastic. So whether you're doing it outside during the day or you need to do something inside because it's thunderstorm, or maybe you're watching this in the winter for some reason, it's just a really great like versatile setup. Next item I got was a little inflatable pool. We got a little electric pump, which made setup super easy, and I do recommend getting an inflatable pool with some sort of water feature. This was just like one of those like round open tubs. I don't know that my toddler and baby would love it as much, but the whole sprinkler thing coming down overhead with the water slide, this one also came with some balls and some ring toss toys. Once the cooler months come, you just deflate it and it's super easy to store. Next thing is going to be a sprinkler head. So if you don't want to get a full inflatable pool, there's a couple ways to go about this. So we have this little one that like spins more elephant water straight upright, or you can get one of those like longer old school sprinkler heads that does more of the fan setup. Or if you have a pool noodle around, you could actually just tape a pool noodle onto your hose head and then puncture holes into it to DIY a sprinkler head too if you're in a jam. All great options. Next item is going to be a swing. Of course, swings have been around forever. I have a full buying guide on my favorite toddler swings, going from babies all the way up to the early elementary school years, so be sure to go ahead and check that out. And sometimes like we just need a little bit of a rest with outside playing, and a swing can be a really good option for that. Next thing is going to be saving your dried up markers. So basically what you're going to do, instead of tossing out all those old markers, collect them, and then you're going to get some cups of water, and from there it's going to suck out any leftover ink and make the water that color, and then you get to do tons of different activities with this. You can add bubble solution to it and do some of the bubble play that I mentioned earlier. You can get cotton balls and dip it into the different colored solutions to make like a rainbow art picture or some other picture. You can go ahead and check out my how to make play foam video and use this water as part of making your own play foam. You can also kind of dip paintbrushes in it or get straws and have your kid just blow the different colors onto a piece of paper for a variation of blow art, if you will. One of the things that my toddler absolutely loved doing was getting a really long paper towel, rolling it up, and then you're going to snake it between all of the cups. You're gonna let it sit. Paper towel will absorb the color up into it. You'll let that dry out and you'll have a really cool rainbow art. My daughter has this hanging up in her room. She loved doing that. You could add shaving cream to the different colors and use it to make a fluffy, colorful paint. Literally, the options are endless here, and it'll save you money on food coloring, so that's another win. The next item is going to be Orbeez, which are these little beads that you soak in water for a couple days and then they get bigger. So this is definitely for older toddlers because it is 100% a choking hazard for babies or younger toddlers. But again, it is a very calming activity. Just squish your hands or your feet into it. You could also do like an Orbeez toss where you have to try to toss the ball back and forth. They basically turn into bouncy balls. You could also make it a little game outside where you have to like toss them into the basket. You could include these as part of an obstacle course. You could use a spoon as a variation of an egg egg walk. They have a bunch of different colors, so you could do color sorting activities. You could even like put a piece of painter's tape on the deck and have them try to use a spoon or a straw to blow their Orbeez on a straight line with it. Lots of things you can do here. The next item is obviously going to be chalk, and another no-brainer item for summer. However, I suggest saving the little nubs of chalk. Instead of getting rid of those, we're going to use them, and all you're going to do is crush those up into like a muffin tin or a cup and add a little bit of water, and now you have sidewalk chalk paint. If you need to make more of this, it's a super simple recipe, and that way you have some extra. Next item I love, I've talked about this many times, are going to be Pikler triangles or crawling tunnels. Now obviously during the summer we want our kids outside as much as possible, but if you do live somewhere like I do where it gets really hot and you do need to go inside during the middle of the day during those peak sun hours, or just thunderstorms are like a very common thing, Pikler triangle is a great way to get some of that excess energy out. Doubles for imaginative play. If you don't have space for a Pikler triangle, a crawling tunnel is another great option, and I will leave a link to my full buying guide on Pikler triangles in the description box below. Next thing is going to be these little paint strips. So we recently challenged ourselves to do 30 days of the beach, so going to the beach every single day, and of course there were some days my 3-year-old just didn't want to go to the beach. Having a little paint strip like this is super fun. You can have your toddler either paint seashells or paint rocks. If you are bringing this to a beach or like a public park or something, I would definitely suggest having multiple paintbrushes because your toddler is guaranteed to make new friends with this. Next is going to be flower posting or lacing. So I recently saw everyone was calling it like a dandelion lacing activity all over Instagram. Like every single toddler activity account was posting it, but it's more of a posting activity in my mind because you're not really lacing. However, you can do a lacing activity. All you're gonna do is get a piece of cardboard, put a face or a shape onto it, and then collect flowers with your toddler and have them fill in that shape with their flowers. My daughter loved doing this. For older toddlers, early elementary school age, you could actually do flower lacing where you get a needle and thread, some flowers, and have them just like you would make like a Christmas garland, have them make like a little flower bracelet or flower necklace or flower crown for one of their dolls with it. Next is gonna be busting out the boards. Skateboard, surfboard, boogie board, scooter. I know that's not like, doesn't have board in the word, but like you stand on a board on that. Balance board. Pretty much getting any sort of like board type of thing out is going to be great for your toddler. Scooters are one of my favorite items. We introduced one to my toddler around 18 months old. She got a ton of use out of it. My toddler recently begged for a skateboard, and while I think 3 years old is a little young for a skateboard, she really wanted one, so we did it. Typically I would say wait till 5 for a skateboard. We ended up using this as part of our obstacle course. She lays on her belly on it. Obviously something to keep an eye on your kids closely with, but summer is a great time to work some new motor skills. So even if you're just getting like a kickboard or a boogie board, see if there's something new that you can bring into your life is just a little bit more exciting and not something that you necessarily get to do all year. And then next, one of the most overlooked summer toys but can be used for endless activities are just going to be some balls and bins. You guys can go to the dollar store this time of year and stock up. Well, that's typically what we do. I buy like 6 of them because inevitably they end up getting left at parks and stuff like that over the year. And of course there's bins all around your house, storage bins, laundry baskets, all things like that, cardboard boxes. And from there, like the possibilities I said are literally endless depending on the age of your kid. So you can fill one plastic bin with water and a sponge, and another plastic bin can be empty, and you can have them literally soak the sponge, bring it out into the empty one as a lesson in water transferring. Get a wide variety of balls and put it into one bin, fill another bin with water and have them practice to see which ones will sink or float, and then have them ladle those balls out would be an additional activity onto that. Again, balls can be used in pretend play. You can even use them as ice cream cones with some cups. I suggest just having like a basket of balls with a wide variety of textures, size, color as just an invitation to play and see what they end up coming up with. If you have a basket of balls and they're like, I'm bored, I would hand them the basket and say, what do you think you can do with these? And put it back onto the kid. You'll be surprised with what they come up with. And I'd love to hear what your favorite summer activities and toys are to do with kids at home. Drop them in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, check out my past toddler activity videos, check out my Love Every Play Kit reviews because those are awesome, especially for 3-year-olds. Open-ended toys, lots more play ideas and more toy ideas. As always, my name's Rachel from The Confused Mom. Have a good one.